Yo, what's up? It's me, Tony Jacobson, the author of Disable Your Disability and the creator of this OILife YouTube channel. In this OILife Spotlight interview, I had the joy of speaking with Will Hamilton. He is a wheelchair racer and sprinter and a fellow O.I.er. So let's go ahead and see who gets to the finish line first. On your mark, get set, and go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this interview right here. I got the one and only Will Hamilton with me. You may know him as the O.I. Sprinter on Instagram, right? That's your handle?
Right, that's right.
How you doing today, Will?
Pretty good. How about you?
Good. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today and to, answer these questions, share with us your experience. I always like to start things off when I meet fellow O.I.ers. I found that there's 4 things that we kind of have a common thread and through line with, and I like to call it the Fabulous 4. So I'm going to ask you what your Fabulous 4 are, and that is, what is your type of OI? How many breaks have you had? How many surgeries have you had, if any? And then do you have any hardware in your body, possibly? So let's do it right now. Go ahead and run through your Fabulous 4.
Right. Okay, so I have type 3. I believe I've had, maybe like 20, 30 breaks. I kind of consider that lucky in a way. Surgeries, I want to say at least 20. And then hardware, I have rods in my upper and lower legs. And then that's it, though.
Okay. Yeah, I have the same. Do you have it in both, in your femurs and tibias? They're like pins going straight down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had them. Now, when did you get those?
I want to say when I was really young, maybe 5.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. I got mine, I think, when I was 8 and 9. And then just had a few replaced, but I still got them. I'm going to be 50 this year, and I still got mine, so it's all good.
There we go.
Right on. So that's Will's Fabulous 4 right there. Thank you so much. Now tell me, we're going to really get into OI specific because this is for the OILife channel. It's everything Osteogenesis Imperfecta. So we're going to deal with kind of both sides of OI. So I want you to first tell me what are some things that OI has impacted in your life in a negative way.
Personally, I think the 2 big negatives are, I want to say accessibility. I think that's a very, very big one. Obviously, a lot of places just, aren't the most accessible. It can be really difficult to, find ways to get around it, too, especially if, that's something that not everyone thinks about and maybe the place doesn't provide it. So it definitely calls on creativity a lot. And then the other thing I would say is probably employment, because I think a lot of times employers they're pretty weary or wary of just things that are maybe misconceptions or what they think we're capable of. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's been a really big obstacle.
What types of things have you done?
So I was usually in offices as an assistant, or I was I also recently was working at Goodwill as a store rep or a cashier. Mm-hmm. And I mean, even those things were they couldn't really give accommodations or anything like that, so I had to figure out my own. Or either that the accommodations were just too much to go through, and I was like, it's fine, I'll just figure it out on my own.
Right.
And sometimes jobs aren't always the best fit for us either. Certain jobs, I mean. Mm-hmm. So it just becomes you kind of have to find a balance, but it's also sometimes there isn't a good balance,
Yeah, I think it's definitely, I kind of faced that same thing when I was younger and just getting into employment, finding jobs and stuff. It's definitely one of those things, especially with OI specifically, because of the fragility of our bones, right? It's different even from other disabilities where it's oh, well, you're fragile. So what does that mean for your the way that you can do this job, and specific things with lifting and carrying, or just any kind of mobility things. I think a lot of employers get scared where they're like, am I going to be held responsible and all this stuff. I mean, it can get pretty crazy. So I can see how that can be a negative. I went through that definitely when I was younger, just trying to get little random jobs here and there. It was really tough to lock it down. So yeah, sorry you're going through that, man.
It's I think it's a learning process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we gotta go through it to figure out like what actually works for us. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of like a couple negative things. Totally get it, totally understand. But now I want you to tell me, what are some of the positive ways that OI has impacted your life?
I think the biggest positive is probably, I'm always able to like analyze the situation and like really figure out what is the best for me. Kind of like playing off of what I just said, in the opposite way. I mean, I'm really able to like think like, is this going to like work for me? Is this really like what I want out of this? Or like, is it safe enough for me? Just really anything. And I feel like that's kind of guided me like all the way up through my life at this point.
That's really good. Yeah, it's definitely been a positive for you to be able to do that. That analytical mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's talk about your racing. Now, how long have you been officially really racing?
Well, I started in 2015, and I had no idea about sport or anything like that beforehand. So it's been quite the journey and quite the just powerful experience. I think it just entirely changed me, but that's a separate rant anyway. Um, but racing, it's been good. It's been what, 6 years now this year. Um, so I think the most dramatic improvement has been just my health because of racing. That's just been the biggest like factor overall to why I haven't really gotten hurt in a long time.
That's really good. And did you have, like, before racing, so how old were you when you started racing then?
I was 19.
So when you were 19, I know with OI, like, our bodies are still kind of just coming out on the tail end of, being really susceptible to injury and stuff. So were you in good health before racing, or was this something that was like, I can use this as a way to start getting healthier because maybe you noticed that you needed it in your life?
Right. Well, I always say that in high school I was at my weakest point. I just really, I used to break a lot. I would get like, just a lot of muscle pain, a lot of bone pain. And so when I took up racing, I mean, I was a little bit better than then because that was a few years later. But my body kind of told me like, you're not quite there yet because I actually did end up breaking my scapula in the second week of practice.
Oh man.
And that kind of told me like, okay, I think you need to do some work if you want to like actually do this thing and like you feel like it'll help. So, I mean, that's kind of what fueled me too, was because I guess I was just tired of feeling like it was kind of holding me back, like my body was holding me back. And I wanted to be able to do things like for daily living that were like hard for me. I wanted to make that easier too. So I think that's always the goal in general, though.
That's a great goal to have. And it's great that you've got it so early in life, because a lot of people, with or without OI, don't get that message early in life. But especially with us O.I.ers, for me personally, I didn't do my kind of like personal transformation until I was early 40s. So, that whole my 20s and 30s were a mess. I was just kind of letting my body run down, and I wasn't being healthy at all. So it's great that you've got it early on, man. Congratulations with that.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
No,
So
it's definitely
how has the OI like specifically impacted your racing kind of career? Like, I know you talked about like having that break when you were in practice, but has the OI, if any, like impacted how you go about training and how you go about just thinking about the racing?
for sure. There's two specific things that I can think of. So training specifically, equipment is very, very important on my body. There's things that will be like just maybe a centimeter off, and I can feel the difference. It just changes my entire like um, just like mechanics and how I move, and I can like feel the pain come up like instantly. So I have to be like very, very specific on what I use and like how I push. Um, and then I mean the other thing would probably be like training slash in meets like specifically. If I feel like I need to obviously do my best, but like if I feel like something's just a little off, I can't push it, so I need to like I have to dial it back to maybe like 98% just to like be cautious, which
Mm-hmm.
it's good and bad because I want to give it my all, but at the same time I don't want to be out for longer.
Like with that thought of knowing, yeah, when it comes to meets, I might have to, actual races, I might have to pull back. How does that affect your training? When you go into training, are you more cognizant of, well, I have to get stronger in certain areas?
Yeah, I usually try and focus on like specific areas, like for example, like starts are very important as a sprinter. Um, Acceleration is very important. So, I try and focus on the things that like feel like weak areas to me, so that maybe I can like compensate somehow if I'm ever in like a meet and I feel like okay, well maybe I can't go like my top speed today, so I'll like focus on my start or just
Right.
kind of switch it up like that.
That's cool. And how have you, since you're kind of in training and you focus on nutrition as well, what are your thoughts when it comes to nutrition and really the OI specific stuff, either dealing with your bones or with joint mobility and stuff like that? Do you have any sort of regimen that you specifically are on?
I just try and make sure that I eat, just all the food groups, as cheesy as it sounds, just make sure that you get, enough protein, enough vegetables, enough fruits. I try to focus, or I have been focusing a lot more on protein as of lately because that was always kind of my weak point. I'm not like a super like big meat eater, so getting in protein was pretty hard before, but I've been really focusing on that, and I feel like that's a big part of why. I mean, I'm getting stronger and healthier too. So,
Yeah, no, that's great, man. I'm absolutely a proponent for that. Just really dialing in and hacking like what is best for bone health, for keeping my joints mobile. I have limited mobility in certain joints, so it's like, how can I, increase my flexibility, not only just through exercise, but with nutrition as well, to make sure that I'm fueling appropriately inside so that we can do what we want to do physically. It's awesome to see you doing your thing, man. I follow you on Instagram. Everybody go to his Instagram account right now. It's at OI Sprinter. Now, it's just OI underscore Sprinter, right?
it's separated by periods, so it'll
Ah,
be the period Y period sprinter.
nice. So let me ask you this, Will. What is, well, I want you to finish this sentence for me. OI to me is,
Um, oh man, it's hard to describe it in one word, but like, I think OI to me is a blessing because I feel like I would be a completely different person if I didn't have OI. I don't know who I would be. but it's definitely taught me a lot of things about myself. I think that it's sometimes easy to like get caught up in like think about all the things that I can't do or wish I could do or whatever, but like there are also a lot of things that I can do that maybe like I wouldn't have the opportunity to if I didn't choose to do a lot of the things that I have chosen to do. So it's kind of like building up the layers to get to a certain point of like where you want to be at.
Very cool, man. Well, I'm so glad. Did you have any final thoughts, any final words that you would like to give to the OILife community, to your fellow O.I.ers, to those who do watch this channel? What are your final thoughts for them?
I would just say like don't be too afraid to try something if you think it'll really help you. I know it can be kind of intimidating or like scary, just in terms of like getting hurt or whatever, but I think that if you kind of come at it with like an open mind, you might be surprised in like what you can accomplish. And just don't give up right away. Just kind of give it some time. It might take a while. You might get there really slow, but I think it's worth it in the end. So just kind of keep doing what you think is best.
I hope you enjoyed this interview. Make sure you check out some other Spotlight interviews right there. And also, there's a ton of OI related content here on the channel. So make sure you subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you'll get notified every single time a new video goes up. Until next time, get out there and keep breaking barriers, not bones.